receive his wisdom. Bless our soul to find the guidance, and bless our heart to receive his love. May Almighty God bless our leadership that will serve with dignity and respect to our nation. May Almighty God bless you all, and may Almighty God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you, Chaplain. Please rise for the entrance of our colors. Please remain standing as we mark the moment of silence and the lowering of the flag. Thank you. Please be seated. I would like to now call, before we call up the family members, I want to be mindful for Commissioner Tucker that needs to leave soon, to please give your remarks. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So first, let me add my thanks to Rabbi Cass' remarks about the Borough President and his staff, Abe and Ingrid. I guess this is my fifth time to join you here at Borough Hall for this ceremony, and I look forward to it, actually, and I hope the rest of you do, because it's that opportunity for us to really take that time to be together and to remember and to celebrate the sacrifices of our loved ones, right? And so It's a privilege for me to be here and to honor our families, Phil, Susie, and Diane, and Louis, certainly. And as Susan and I spoke earlier, and turns out that Susan, I'd forgotten this, but Susan's daughter, Megan, is one of our, she worked for me in my office for about a year, and she is now, she left to become the CO of the 7-6 precinct, and now is the DI there, Deputy Inspector there. So special connection to the O'Malley family. And with respect to Louis, Phil, you and I, it's good to see you again. And I just thought I'd mention, you know, Louis was a special person for lots of reasons, but even in his ill health, I mean, really toward the end of his life, took the time to join others before the House Judiciary Committee to add his voice to a long list of people who were fighting hard to preserve and even extend the September 11th Victim Compensation Fund, to make sure that those benefits continue for our members who sacrificed their time at Ground Zero and over in Staten Island to provide services and recovery services for efforts for our losses at the time. And as of August, at least in the NYPD, we now, when it comes to 9/11 related illnesses, have lost 225 people. It is the horror that keeps on giving. We don't know when it's going to end. But the fact is that Louis added his voice, and Congress, I think, heard it loud and clear and provided the additional billions of dollars and authorized those funds so that we can replenish the fund and begin, continue to take care of our loved ones. For all of us here today, and in fact for all Americans, as Rabbi Cass referenced earlier, September 11, 2001 changed our lives forever in a variety of ways. And that moment for me and my wife came on the morning of September 11, 2001. We lived a few blocks south of the towers, and we were both home. I'm watching the news, and I see the story about the first tower being struck, and I'm thinking, you know, how could that be? Sunny, bright, crisp, beautiful day. And so the cop instincts in me decide I'm going downstairs and check things out, and I go outside my building, and I walk across the street to look up at the North Tower, and it was at that moment that the second plane came across the river and sounded like a missile, not a plane, and banked to the right or to the left, and then slammed into the South Tower. And then I knew that was the moment that changed our lives. And we all experienced that moment in different ways, but certainly for me and my wife, that was one of those moments, and it's changed our lives forever. Today, 18 years later, after the attacks, we strive to figure out ways to find solace in what is often a hopeless time. And we try to figure that out. But today's ceremony, like so many others that are happening today, tomorrow, and probably throughout the month, offers us all the opportunity to celebrate the lives and the sacrifices of our loved ones. That's I think, what's really important. When we do that, I think we help ourselves individually, but we also, I think, share that love with others. And so I think it is important that we cherish the memories that we have, as I call them, gifts from our loved ones, the ones we lost, because the memories we get to keep. We get to spend time with our loved ones in our heads and in our hearts and our minds, and in doing so, as we say in the NYPD, we never forget. And that's, you know, I think it's a simple message from me to you, to everyone here. Again, I appreciate the opportunity, Eric, to come and offer some comments and to really see some of our families and to spend a moment or two with them as well. And to the members of the FDNY who lost 343 and our members of the NYPD who lost our 23, I wanted you, I'll just just mention this because I think when we talk about remembering and never forgetting, one of the things that we started doing about 3 years ago was with every new recruit, every new class that we hire and have hired, we now have them meet us at Ground Zero. We're down in the museum, and the museum staff gives them the history. I thought it was important to do that because they need to remember. They were all, and as we get further away, some of them won't have been born at the time. And so those who were and were very young, I think it's important for them to understand the legacy of the department. That's how the department's moved in incredible ways, and we've gotten very strong, continue to be out there doing what we all signed up to do. And so I just share that with you because that's another way, I think, for us to never forget and to have the legacy grow even as we grow a new cadre of officers coming into this job. So thank you, Eric. Thank you, Abe, Ingrid. Appreciate it very much. I apologize. I got to run.
Thank you again, Commissioner. We want to take this opportunity to really honor two family members who are here for Louis. His brother Philip is here, and for Diana, her sister Susan is here. Detective Louis Alvarez, he worked at Ground Zero after the 9/11 attacks and fought, most importantly, for the 9/11 Victim Compensation Fund until he passed earlier this year. This is the first year of 9/11 that we don't have him with us. He signed up for the Marines when he was 18 years old. It shows his true patriotic feelings towards this country, and he was clear that he wanted to serve to the best of his capacity. He joined the New York City Police Department in 1990 and became a highly decorated officer assigned to undercover duties and on the bomb squad. When the attacks took place, he went down to Ground Zero to assist with the recovery effort. His dedication to the job was so great, and one quote that I always remember him saying, "I did not want to be anywhere else but Ground Zero." Alvarez was a father of 3 and passed away at the age of 53 in June. We are lucky to be joined by his brother Philip and to receive this honor on behalf of all the people of Brooklyn, 2.6 million people. We want to thank the Alvarez family, and we have his son that's also here with us as well. We cannot thank you enough. Your brother will always be in our heart. Your dad would always be in our heart. And this is our way of saying, as Brooklynites, part of the 266 people who are on the banner that we will have outside, we want to say thank you. Whereas on behalf of all Brooklynites, I salute Louis Alvarez, a retired NYPD bomb squad detective who gave his all and described in front of Congress the medical issues during an appeal for the extension of the September 11th Victim Compensation Fund, who on that fateful day assisted in the search for survivors through the rubbish and the destruction of the Twin Towers. we're joined here today to applaud Luis Alvarez, who made his way to Washington with other first responders to testify for an extension of the fund for police officers, firefighters, and other emergency employees who became ill after responding to the September 11th attack. On behalf of all Brooklynites, we honor and salute the Alvarez's family. Lou Alvarez, Celebration Day in Brooklyn. Eric L. Adams, Brooklyn Borough President.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Good morning. Mr. Borough President, thank you for this honor to be here on behalf of my brother. We are overwhelmed, to say the least, of all the love, honor, and respect that the Alvarez family has received since we lost our brother on June 29th. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you very much. It's a nice invitation to be here in Brooklyn. As a Queens boy, we all know, they say the heart of the city's across the river, but the soul and the heart are on this side of the river in Brooklyn and Queens. That's where Lou was raised. A little bit about Lou, you guys saw this public persona that he never wanted. He was an under-the-radar kind of guy. He didn't tell you much about himself, and he always used to say, I hope they remember the message, but they forget my name as soon as they hear it. He didn't want the applause. He didn't want the awards. He just wanted guys to take care of themselves, guys and girls to take care of themselves and take care of each other. And he said that over and over again. And for a guy that flew under the radar, it was interesting to hear my little brother say that. It started 3 years ago when I got that call. I'm a police detective from Suffolk County, Long Island, 32 years, and I was on a case, and I got the call from him, and we're the only two cops in the family, and he said, bro, I got stage 4 cancer. You're not supposed to get that call about your little brother. But he said, all right, what are we doing? And he says, I got Sloan, we're gonna fight this thing. But immediately after that, his first thought is, I gotta get in touch with my squad. I gotta get in touch with the guys that were down there, the girls that were down there, because it took 15 years for this thing to catch up to me. They need to know this. They need to know that I'm sick. They need to know that they need to sign up for the World Trade Center health program, sign up for the Victims' Compensation Fund to take care of their families if they are sick. So he just tried to set the message out. In this new age of Facebook and social media, that was easy for him. For an under-the-radar type of guy, he would just type a few messages. Every 2 weeks, when he ended up on that 5th floor at Sloan Kettering in Manhattan, and he had 5 hours hooked up to a machine, he decided to just send out little blogs. You know, chemo number 5, chemo number 15, chemo number 40. And it was sent out to private chat rooms for police officers, for firemen, Club 23 being one of them. The 23 stands for the 23 officers that died instantly when the towers fell, 15,000 members. He was on a bunch of NYPD sites. And he just wanted to have people not look at him, not know his name, but realize that they needed to get checked out. Lou didn't do anything he didn't want to do. He knew, eyes wide open, what he was doing. And you can ask my mother about that when he came home with the motorcycle at 17 years old and joined the Marine Corps at 18 years old. He did what he wanted to do. I was fortunate enough to drive him down to Washington, D.C. He had a pump that was pumping chemo to the liver, and he couldn't fly. So he said, "You taking me?" I said, "I don't know if you're up for that." And he said, "Listen, you don't want to take me? Somebody from the DEA will bring a van, they'll throw me in the back, they'll get me down there because I'm going." So what was I going to tell him? I was fortunate enough to sit in the second row behind him when he testified in front of the Judiciary Committee, behind John Stewart and those brave men and women from the fire department, from the Students Association, the widow of the truck driver who was proud to be part of the recovery effort in bringing this country back off its feet. They were all wonderful, and I got that bird's eye view. That was one of the gifts my brother gave me. But when he finished and everybody stood up and clapped, he turned around to me. He says, "Why the hell are they clapping? Why are they standing up?" He didn't really want the attention. As Chief Rabbi Cass said at the opening ceremony, sometimes when we say prayers, God sends people in our way. And as the commissioner mentioned, with all the guys and girls and the trials and tribulations of law enforcement and the fire department being first at scenes, we need to rely on each other. So if there's any message you took from Lou Alvarez's life, is you got to be there for each other. You got to stand tall for one another. Recently I was reading a blog from August of 2018. And he wrote he had just had a rough month, and I remember that month he did. His counts weren't good, the chemo wasn't working, he wanted to give up. He had just lost 2 guys, a fireman and a police officer that were great friends. As crazy as it sounds, they used to all plan their chemo on the same day at Sloan, so they can all hang out and have a party together. And that's, you know, how crazy this stuff is. But they did it to hang out with each other. But he had lost a couple of buddies that month. He wasn't doing well. And guys and girls that he had called or talked to him or written email messages to really picked him up. And that was God sending a bunch of people. He had no idea. Lou Alvarez, nobody knew who he was in August of 2018. Those people had no idea that they were picking up a guy who was looking to give up. And a year later, you know, we're blessed. You know, we should all be blessed that everybody stops to listen to us on the last 2 months of our lives. We're very happy for the bill. It guarantees for the citizens of New York, both that were doing their job or just happen to be there, live there, go to school there, will be taken care of till 2090. The fight still continues, and the World Trade Center Health Program, they had added 25,000 slots in 2015, I believe. Report came out the other day that that'll be filled up by the end of 2020. So believe it or not, we need new legislation for the World Trade Center Health Program to add people because so many people are getting sick. So I think I've been here too long. On behalf of the Alvarez family, thank you very much for everything you guys did to honor, respect, and send love to our family. Thank you.
We're going to do another moment of silence at 10:28, so we're going to pause before bringing Susan up. Our next honoree is for Diane Halbran. Diane assisted with search and rescue efforts after 9/11. After retiring from the New York City Police Department, she then became the President's Secretary for Bishop Ford High School. Diane, affectionately called Dee Dee, was 60 years old when she succumbed to a 9/11 related cancer from her efforts at the Trade Center on September 6, 2017. She's survived by her siblings, 5 nieces, and 4 great-nieces. We're so fortunate to be joined by her sister, Susan. I had an opportunity to speak with her earlier, and I want to really thank her for coming in and allowing us to honor her sister. She honors us with her presence and her family presence. Susan? On behalf of all Brooklynites, I salute Officer Diane Halbran, who was vacationing on the fateful day when she heard of the attacks and raced to the Trade Center to assist in the search of survivors through the mountains of rubble left behind from the catastrophic, and as a result of her bravery and quick action, it is estimated that over 25,000 people were saved due to her bravery to join in the search and rescue effort. I applaud her for dedication and unwavering service to the New York City Police Department and the City of New York throughout her years of service, and her tenacity and strong determination to assist in finding her fellow fallen officers, quickly becoming an all-time hero, and for playing a major role in the history of the search and rescue efforts of the terrorist attack of September 11th. On behalf of all Brooklynites, we salute Diane Halbran on this day, September 10th, 2019. Eric Adams, Brooklyn Borough President.
Good morning, everybody. On behalf of my family, I would like to thank Borough President Eric Adams, his staff, and all in attendance here for allowing me to share this story. I am also so humbled to be with the Alvarez family because I need him to know that he personally helped our family. Her obituary read, Diane F. Halbran was a retired NYPD officer who succumbed to a 9/11 related cancer. But behind this epitaph, she was so much more. She was a loving daughter, sister, sister-in-law, an aunt, a cousin, a niece, a friend, a mentor, and a PBA delegate. Diane lived and worked in Brooklyn her entire 60 years of life. She knew every neighbor, child, and pet in her area. The 20 years as a police officer was spent patrolling the streets of Brooklyn, and when she retired, she worked at Bishop Ford High School. She didn't have any biological children, but she had an entire school of children who affectionately called her Aunt Di-Di. She helped them with college applications, sports, and everyday life issues. Her wake was filled with young adults who shared beautiful stories with us. It was so comforting. Diane was so generous and sensitive to the plight of the homeless, both people and animals. We were all God's creatures, she said. She rescued many animals. A true story about Diane is an incident that occurred at 4 a.m. on her back deck. She would eat straight cat here and give her every can of food at a time so she could digest. She got low. When she returned with the second hand, she bent down and pet the cat, noting how soft her fur was, until she realized she was actually petting a raccoon. She backed away slowly, and the raccoon went on her way without incident. I wasn't even surprised when she told us what happened. This is who she was, a gentle soul who all gratitude to. We did, however, bombard her with stuffed raccoons and pictures for quite a while. I can tell you for a fact what a professional police officer she was. I was a nurse in Methodist Hospital, New York, and I witnessed her interactions with others. She held hands of victims and treated prisoners with respect. On more than one occasion, I would hear a comment from a staff member about a genuine personality, and I would say, yep, that's my kid sister. She loved basketball, she played in college life, she in grammar school, and she played in St. Joe's High School. She loved the Knicks and the Mets. She took care of her little mom, and she helped my dad with many things, especially writing his book. She always checked with my brother Arthur, husband, and I. She was so generous to my children and taught them how to ski and travel the world. But more importantly, she taught them the same values she believed in. She was fiercely proud of Kevin Lincoln Keller, who was thrilled to pieces when Megan wore a PP shield upon graduation. Kevin became a DHS special agent and Keller an RN. I know Diane had a hand in all of this, as well as my husband and I. And then the great nieces and nephews appeared, and Diane was in her glory. She told me their birthday and all right in the world. When she was diagnosed with terminal cancer, I was devastated. She simply and calmly said, I tried to be a good person my whole life, so hopefully I'll get into heaven. It's okay. I was so amazed by her words, but this is how she truly lived and died. So it's true that Diane was on vacation and she ran to the towers as so many others did. She didn't consider herself a hero. She said it was her job to help people, and she did so to the best of her ability. Honestly, she'd be embarrassed by the beautiful ceremonies and medal given to my dad this year. And ironically, her funeral mass was held on 9/11. So rather than thinking of why Diane died, we choose to think of how she lived. A butterfly is one of God's most unique creations. She is simple, beautiful, and despite a short lifespan, manages to leave a lasting impression on all who cross her path. Diane was our butterfly and hero. This is the legacy of Diane Frances Halbran. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and thank you, Denise, for letting me do this. Take care.
Please remain standing as we mark the second moment of silence. Thank you. We'll now light the candles with the Borough President. We're here joined by the colonels east from Fort Hamilton we're so grateful and thank you for your service.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for the opportunity to offer a few short remarks to the families. Ma'am, gentlemen, I'm truly humbled to be here in your presence today. Thank you. Tomorrow marks the 18th anniversary of the attacks on September 11, 2001. and a profound moment in our nation's history. Almost 2 decades after the attacks, we continue to hold these ceremonies every year because we can never afford to forget the thousands of innocent lives taken less than 1 mile from this location, the Pentagon, and Pennsylvania. The ceremonies this week also remind us of the selfless service of our first responders, the thousands who rushed into harm's way on September 11th, many of whom never returned to their homes or loved ones. Today is also a reminder of the tens of thousands of our fellow citizens who answered our nation's call after September 11th. Many of these citizens deployed to faraway places, and thousands also would never return home. Today is a reminder of our solemn responsibility to the families of our fallen first responders and service members who continue to sacrifice everything. Many of these heroes still bear the physical, emotional, and mental scars of September 11th. It is our responsibility, our duty, to do everything we can to help them heal, to be there for them and their families during their most difficult times, and to take care of their families, of those who continue to fall. Anything less than our very best for these heroes is simply unacceptable. I'm grateful for our first responders who protect us in our communities every day. I'm equally grateful for the young men and women who have and continue to swear an oath to protect our republic. These Americans make our country the greatest in the world. We owe them and their families the respect and honor that they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Colonel. I would like to call now Reverend Terry Lee to come up to please give your remarks, and this is a great fitting moment to honor the people that stand with you in peace every day.
Good morning. I want to say to God be the glory this morning for the great things that He has done for us, how He has kept us. I want to thank our Borough President and all the NYPD and the fire department and all the responders. When it comes to 9/11, it also personally touched my heart. I purposely, this was my jacket that I wear on 9/11 at Ground Zero. I was right on top of the pile. You know, when I look and see my fellow police officers and firefighters and families, you know, going down, I said, I have to be a part of this. And myself has been impacted by this 9/11 situation. But however, as we look into the future and to see how we can continue our endeavor to foster and to strengthen our relationship with our police officers, and we want to assure, as clergy and citizens, we want to assure our police officers and firefighters and law enforcement agents that you are not alone, that we are with you step by step. We are praying with you, and we want to let you know, police officers, that blue life matters and all life matters. Our life matters, your family life matters, and we're here to say thank you for the service that you have given, and thank you for a job well done. Put your hands together for our police and firefighters.
So we want to take this opportunity, as I call your name, please come up for a quick photo op with Reverend Terry Lee and the Borough President. Police Officer Michael Barata, Sergeant Charles, Gessner Charles, Police Officer Gario Korku, Police Officer Brianna Despakal, Police Officer Talib Hussan, Officer Jean-Jacques, Officer